Any opposition? All right. G, we're going to come back to. H.
I move that we approve item H1.
Okay, it has been moved that we accept or approve H1.
Second.
It has been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Nay. We have a nay.
Nay.
2 nays.
So that means the rest was yea and passed.
Yes. Motion carries.
I move that we approve item H2.
Second. Second.
Moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Move that we table item H3.
Second.
It has been moved and second. Any comments? All in favor that we table 3?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay.
Move that we pass item H4.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Move that we pass item H5.
Second.
It has been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Move that we pass item H6.
Second. Second.
It has been moved and second. Any opposition? All in favor?
Aye. Nay.
1 opposition.
2
2. 1 abstention and 1 nay on 6.
Item passed.
What did you say?
2 abstentions and 1.
2 abstentions. 2 abstentions. 1 nay. 2 nays. We need a roll call vote on that?
Thank you all.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and we have 2 nays and 2 abstentions. Motion carries.
12-4.
Okay. Now we'll go back to E, MOU. Bernhardt.
Right. Thank you, members of the board. Before you is a memorandum of understanding between Southern University and the Bernhardt Group for Energy Conservation. As you may recall, at our most recent retreat, the board was presented with a presentation that spoke to an opportunity before Southern University to engage in an infrastructure project that had the promise of helping us address immediately some long-standing energy issues on campus, including the automation of controls. And we have asked representatives from Bernhardt to come forth and offer just a very brief presentation highlighting this opportunity for Southern University. And I would ask that they do so at this time. I think Mr. Pugh is going to present, Ben Pugh is going to present Chairman Bernhardt from the Bernhardt Group.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Mr. President, members of the board. It's my pleasure to present Mr. Ken Bernhardt and Mr. Michael Durham, who are representatives of the Bernhardt Group, to provide a very brief update on their project.
We're in good time, Mr. Pugh, so this is important for us.
Well, I do appreciate the time and the consideration. Madam Chair, Dr. Belton, President Belton, and board members, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. This is a festive environment that, quite frankly, I was excited to come to on my day off. So this is one reason to wake up, I can assure you. So, I'd be remiss if I didn't introduce Michael Durham. Michael Durham is the general counsel for Bernhardt, and I am a developer for the company. I run a construction division. In October of 2017, Southern University published an RFP for a comprehensive energy solution. Bernhardt responded and was selected. We went through a detailed energy audit at that time, and what we came back with, and something that I did present to you last time, was a very comprehensive, very expansive, that's expansive, not expensive, very expansive energy infrastructure project. At the end of the day, that project was tabled due to its size and the fact that the payments weren't going to be 100% guaranteed and paid for by energy savings. Bernhardt was asked to go back to the table and to find something that represents the most bang for the buck and to show Southern University's commitment to energy conservation. So that's what we did. And what I present to you today, in addition to an MOU, is the project. In large part, please excuse me. I'll leave the most important part for last. Thank you. And you'll notice who has their hands on the check, if you will, right now. My chancellor. So the project really has two major components. There's other things that we could drill down and spend hours talking about it, but the two major components are LED lighting, a lighting conversion for all of the campus. Right now we have a large percentage of the campus that is underlit or not lit. We have a lot of lamps and ballasts that are broken and are going unrepaired. It's not because of the will of the faculty. It has more to do with dollars and cents. So one of the main components of this project is the interior and exterior lighting of the campus. And so what I brought with me here today, and inside of your package you'll see it as well, is an overlay of the project and where it goes. I believe there are 35 buildings affected by this project where the lighting will be upgraded, and it'll be more conducive to a better learning environment. So you'll see in your packet, you'll see the listing, but I wanted to bring this as well for anybody who wanted to take a look, and quite respectfully, it's kind of small on that piece of paper. If you want to read the building names, this would be a lot easier. The second component of the project relates to automation, controls, air controls. This has a lot to do, this has everything to do with the comfort inside the buildings. We've also found that we were a little bit, let's just put it this way, there's a lot of room for improvement, a lot of room for comfort improvement. Because this is a state university, it's no different than any other when it goes out for its bids for a new construction project. Cheapest guy gets the project, right? And so what you have is your automation system turns into a hodgepodge, and nothing really speaks to each other. And so when you get a call in one room because it's hot and it's controlled by one system, that's not controlled by the other, and it takes a long time for somebody to come and see about the problem. What we're going to do is put everything on a single platform to where it can be operated from a single desktop, at the central plant. And this will make Southern, to the best of my knowledge, the only university, the only state university that will have this system. This is very important, and this is a big energy conservation project, and I am very proud of it. In addition to those, there's other smaller projects, like creating a water well at the central plant that'll create savings and smaller water conservation efforts. It'll take care of a list of deferred maintenance items as well, capital outlay and deferred maintenance items. But that's really the nuts and bolts of it. It's a $12.3 million project, and so Bernhardt will fund the project, will guarantee the energy savings from the project, and will also pay in advance to the university $700,000 for the opportunity to come forward. And those dollars largely come from the energy conservation. This project's a little bit different than those that you may hear around the state with performance contracting. Performance contracting is a little bit different, wherein you finance the project and we all hope that you get there. This project's a little different. Bernhardt finances the project. We remotely monitor, we operate and maintain alongside you, and we get you there. We're confident that we're going to get you there, that we put our money where our mouth is. So today I'm bringing forward a representative check of $700,000 to the university if we can vote and move forward.
Do we need a picture of that?
We do need a picture.
We need a picture of it, okay.
I would love to take a picture with you with this.
All right.
Now, bring
I guess we need to determine whether that's what the board wants.
Do you want to vote first? Oh, and also,
Let's vote to approve it.
Yeah, okay. All right.
that's what I was thinking. Oh, you get my picture.
I'm over approved. Second.
Well, it has been moved and second without the chair's permission to open it. So all in favor, let it be known by. That's right, personal privilege. All in favor, let it be known by.
I want to make one extension to that, and that's, I have a relationship with Bernhardt, so I have to abstain. Professional.
Appreciate that. No, I appreciate that. Madam
We
Chair.
really would like for the entire board to have this picture because it's a major project that will be bringing our university to another level.
I'm for the project, but it's my understanding that today's MOU that we are approving is a non-binding document,
Yes.
and that the terms that are embedded in the MOU are going to be placed in a contract that's going to come back to us for approval. Is that
It is,
accurate?
that's
understanding?
correct.
Okay, fine.
That's correct. I think the board is aware of that. This is the MOU. We have not, this is not the official contract. It'll come next board meeting.
Now, I do want to say this to be remiss. I am standing right next to Chancellor Pierre, and there's quite a few of my old law school professors here. And once this check is turned over, I can imagine who's going to have the first appointment into Dr. Belton's office. So I'm just going to point that out.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Board, we need your picture.
A lot of money. We leave, Jack.
I would think so.
I just didn't need that long.
Again, thank you, and we're going to move right along with this agenda, so we will be out by noon. Request approval for the Southern University System Strategic Plan. Dr. Belton.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. This agenda item asks your consideration to approve the Southern University System Strategic Plan. We have provided for you a document that speaks to a pathway to excellence And while this is rather comprehensive, I wanted Dr. Alex Penning to provide for you just a brief overview of what this plan speaks to. I have given indication to this board that I think it is to the system benefit that we provide a plan that gives indication of where we're going and that allows this board to hold the administration accountable for the degree to which we're making progress in moving in that direction. So what you have before you is a document that speaks to our goals, but also provides measurable benchmarks that would enable you to give some indication of what progress we're making. So let me defer to Dr. Penning, who can offer an overview of the strategic plan.
Thank you, Mr. President. To Madam Chair Lady, to our Vice Chair, to our Chair-elect and our Vice Chair-elect, to the distinguished members of the Southern University Board of Supervisors, to the chancellors, all my colleagues here, to our students, faculty, staff, and also the great alumni of Southern University, I say good morning to you. I know time is short. I'll be very brief. We have a very short PowerPoint presentation. The purpose of this strategic plan, it really represents the president's vision, a public agenda for higher education that in essence bridges the whole notion of economic development and higher education. And it makes a very simple case that an investment in higher education is an investment in economic development, in talent development, and in community development. And ultimately, the goal is to help raise Louisiana's attainment levels all across the state. Next slide. There's a mission and vision. I want to say very carefully that this plan was developed as a consensus, working with all the campuses. We ended up with a retreat back in New Orleans, where we had all the chancellors, all the senior members of the leadership teams for every single one of our campuses. And together, we put our heads together that allowed us to come up not only with a shared mission and vision, but 7 shared goals. Next slide. The core values, I think you've seen the core values exemplified here today. Everything from excellence and integrity that speaks to the character of this board and of this great system. Student-centered, the heart and soul of why we exist. Accountability and effectiveness that speaks to continuous improvement and assessment. Innovation and creativity that will launch us to the next level. Understanding things like online education will be at the heart of what we do. And the remaining 3 core values really speak to the foundational essence of who we are and how we operate. Next slide. The 7 goals: commitment to student access and affordability. You heard the Commissioner for Higher Education really reference that. A commitment to academic excellence and student success. A commitment to institutional effectiveness, accountability. A commitment to scholarly research, discovery, and entrepreneurship. Next slide. A commitment to fundraising and philanthropic support. You see a lot of evidence of that here today. A commitment to improving campus life through infrastructural development. And finally, promoting the Southern University brand as a single brand through outreach and global excellence. Next slide. The first goal, student access and success, affordability. Oftentimes, I've heard this board often talk about show us the numbers, show us the numbers, show us the numbers. So let's go to the next slide that speaks to this. Overall, you see where Southern University is as a system right now. We're right at 12,000 students. Under the Chancellor's vision, the goal is to, in the next 7 years, to double the enrollment of the Southern University system from 12,000 to 25,000 by the year 2025. And that's, in essence, the doubling represents a 98% increase in our student enrollment. What you have there individually, and I'm not going to go labor through all the details, but you have each of the individual campuses. You see the contributions currently based on a baseline date. You see where, based on 2017, where the contribution of each campus is. You see the 2018 data, and then you see the projections, annual targets that have been established for each of our campuses, working with the leadership of those campuses, so that by the year 2025, the end result will be Southern University Baton Rouge should be right under 14,000 students. SULO will be right above 4,300 students. You see Sussex enrollment, and the Law Center would have doubled its enrollment to give us a cumulative enrollment number of 25,000. Next slide. And I'll go through these very quickly. The concept here is that to make sure that the fair contribution of each university is towards the enrollment goals, we see that the Baton Rouge campus contributes 55% of our overall enrollment. We see that Suno and Susler contribute right at 19 and 21%, and the Law Center contributes right at 4.5% of the overall enrollment for the Southern University system. The next slides I'll go through very quickly. I'm not going to belabor the numbers. You have that in the presentation before you. It's also posted online. Just go through these relatively quickly. You see undergraduate enrollment. We have metrics for that. We see annual targets by campus. Graduate enrollment has annual targets by campus. Keep going. Online enrollment, I would preface to say that right now online enrollment makes up only 1% of our overall enrollment. We intend to grow that to at least 25% by 2025. Keep going. Dual enrollment, Dr. Gaines speaks about that often. You see that dual enrollment projection. Keep going. First-time freshmen, transfer students. Keep going. Readmits, where we actually try to bring students back who have completed a lot of hours but have not completed with a credential. We want those students back, and we want to make sure that they cross that stage. Keep going. Cross-enrollment, that speaks to our Susler Connect, where we maximize the enrollment of all our campuses and make sure that the system benefits from the cross-enrollment projections. Next slide. Pell eligible first-time generation. That speaks to our historical mission. We are a system that we leave no student behind, and we meet our students exactly where they are. Next slide. You see that adult learners, that's one of the big pieces in the outcomes-based funding formula. Pell students, adult learners, Madam Commissioner, we are tracking those within the Southern University system. Keep going. And the average award, there's nothing. I love the concept that individuals that presented checks ultimately spoke about student scholarship. We need to better support our students financially, and this particular metric speaks to that. Academic excellence, I'm not going to belabor this, but let's go to the very last slide. And we have everything from retention, graduation rates, 4-year graduation rates, 6-year graduation rates. I'm not going to belabor the numbers. They're all here before you. But going to the very last slide, and I know time is of essence, it speaks to the scorecard. The scorecard is the way by which this board can finally measure everything we do. For every one of our 7 goals, we have altogether 64 metrics, quantifiable metrics by which you measure us not only by the targets which we place on the front end, but by the actual which we deliver at the back end. There'll be 2 opportunities to take the snapshots, one mid-year, just like a mid-year exam, and at the end of the year, this board gets to once again evaluate this system throughout all the campuses to see how well are we performing based on the numbers. Ladies and gentlemen, I will pause here and take any questions if there are any.
I want to go back to the increase of the online.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we've struggled with that since I've been on the board. I mean, what is the real meat and potatoes of to get those numbers up?
Yes, sir. So right now we're literally at 1%. The first piece is that, and we've outlined detailed strategies within the enrollment plan. Each of our campuses are going to hire what we call the online coordinator. We need somebody who is reserved for that particular campus. The other piece is to make sure that our online students, we train them in how to utilize the online platform. Training for our faculty. Not a lot of our faculty engage completely in online education, so there needs to be training. They need to get comfortable in that. Use of our OERs, open access educational materials, will go up to a long way to make sure that we alleviate students not taking advantage of that. And finally, we want to make sure that our online students are able to enjoy those same student services that our bricks and mortar students enjoy on our campus. They ought to be able to vote in SGA meetings. They ought to be able to be part of tutorial programs, supplemental instruction, so on and so forth that go through the campus. Those detailed strategies are outlined in the plan. I will not belabor those, but I will simply say that we are 5 campuses. We do march to one heartbeat. We are Southern University that represents global excellence. # we are Southern.
Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Pilling and members of the board. We will be revisiting this with you. We just wanted to just kind of give you a snapshot of what direction we're going in. With some anticipation of following back up with you and kind of walking you through this at a later time.
Dr. Belton, it would interest the board and me to say what is the most spectacular success that you think you are looking forward to in this strategic plan?
Well, I think as it points out, this is going to be a roadmap for this university going forth. We would anticipate as you review it, you'll see how much diligence we went into and looking at all the numbers, every number, we gave considerable thought to it. And we believe that these benchmarks which we've established for ourselves are achievable. And so, so at any point, you will know what the Southern University system is working toward and whether or not we're getting there. And so I think through 2025, this document will be a means of measuring and having some a focus on the things to which we're striving for and how each campus is contributing to the overall goals of the Southern University system. We anticipate, with the permission of the board, to provide biannual updates as relates to how we are progressing on this. But we believe it's a game changer. It has been many years, I think going back to the tenure of Dr. Tarver, since the Southern University system has had a strategic plan. And one could arguably say that the campuses have been working independent of each other without bringing the kind of cohesion necessary for us to really work as directed by a singular pathway. So, Madam Chair, from our vantage point, I think this is a game changer for the university and certainly provides for this board a means of holding or ensuring accountability throughout the university system as you have appropriately directed us to do.
Dr. Belton, one other thing, because this strategic plan is, in my opinion, probably one of the most important things that we have on the agenda here today.
It is.
Because it's going to be guiding the system.
That's correct.
I would just like to ask you, would you have Dr. Ammons to say a word? I noticed that he has some major input in here.
Sure. And yes. Yes, and indeed, many of the goals that are incorporated here have been adopted in consultation with the chancellors of the respective campuses. Obviously, Dr. Ammons as the executive vice president, we think everyone will benefit from having the direction that this strategic plan provides. I invite Dr. Ammons to as well express his comments about it.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and members of the board, Dr. Belton. The first thing that I would say is that this was indeed a system-wide effort. We all contributed to the content of this strategic plan for the system. But I will say that one of the things that I think we all are most proud of is the fact that it speaks to the historic mission of the Southern University system and its 5 campuses. As you take a look at those measures, we want to be a place of access and affordability, but also that we will be accountable for student success. Throughout that document, there will be a lot of emphasis on student graduation. At the end of the day, we want students to come to these institutions, progress through them, and end up with the degree that they have laid out their plans to achieve. So again, it is a system-wide effort that speaks to our mission and it speaks to student success.
And then finally, I think on our calendar, we're looking at February, where we're going to ask the campuses to have completed their revision of their individual strategic plans to align with this. Again, such that everyone is on the same page moving forth. As this mantra says,
to our pathway to excellence, Madam Chair Lady.
That's awesome. That's excellent. That's one thing that we've been trying to get buy-in, and that is with all 5 campuses merging together and have one common goal. So I see that you are well, you have this in the strategic plan, and that's important. Can you just give the board, and I'm not gonna delay the time, but just give the board the plan that you have for all 5 campuses being able to interact with what's going on one campus or the other?
Yes, one of the things that we have done